The days following their secret meeting in the moonlit garden were a mix of longing and anxiety. Kamar and Shirin could only exchange glances and subtle gestures in the halls of the palace or the crowded streets of the city. Each fleeting moment was a treasure, yet each separation felt like 1,000 years. Their love, still fresh and delicate, had begun to weave itself into the very fabric of their thoughts and dreams. But the world outside their hearts was not so forgiving. Shirin's father, a man of unwavering ambition and sharp intellect, had grown restless. He had already begun to hear whispers of her attention to a young nobleman who often visited the markets and gardens. Though Kamar had avoided open displays of affection, the intensity of his gaze and the respect he commanded had not gone unnoticed. The father feared that such an attachment could undermine carefully laid plans, alliances, marriages, and the intricate web of politics that governed the port. He summoned Shirin one afternoon to speak with her alone in the palace's private chamber, a room lined with Persian rugs, gilded mirrors, and the soft scent of incense that hung in the air like a warning. "Shirin," he said, his voice measured but firm, "there are duties we cannot ignore. You are not just a daughter. You are a beacon for our family, a bridge to our allies. Your heart, while noble, must also consider the future. Personal desires must sometimes yield to duty." Shirin's eyes, wide with quiet defiance, met his. "Father, I understand duty, but what is duty if it crushes the heart? Can a life built solely on expectation bring happiness to anyone?" Her voice trembled, but her resolve was clear. She would not be forced blindly into a marriage that denied her heart. Her father's expression hardened. "You speak as though love alone can guide you. The world is not built on love, Shirin. And yet, I see a fire in your eyes. Do not let it burn you to ashes." Meanwhile, Kamar faced his own pressures. News of his frequent visits near the palace had reached the ears of other nobles, many of whom resented him for his growing influence and noble reputation. They whispered that he sought to entangle himself with the princess, hoping to climb the ladder of power. Though these rumors were far from the truth, Kamar could sense the shifting currents of envy and suspicion. The weight of court politics pressed upon him like a mountain, yet his thoughts always returned to Shirin, her presence a soothing balm amidst the tension. One evening, determined to speak with her openly, despite the danger, Kamar slipped into the quiet courtyard where Shirin often sought refuge among the jasmine vines. The night was still, and the city seemed to hold its breath. Shirin was already there, leaning against a marble fountain, her expression a mixture of longing and worry. "Kamar," she whispered, "I fear what will come if we are discovered. Father's eyes watch, and the court's ears listen. Every step we take is shadowed by the world around us." Kamar stepped closer, the soft moonlight illuminating his earnest face. "I do not care for the shadows, Shirin, only for you. If we must walk in secrecy, then so be it. I will endure any obstacle, face any danger to be near you." His hand found hers once more, and for a brief moment, the trials of the world faded. But the reality of their situation could not be denied. Shirin's father had already begun arranging a formal betrothal with a powerful prince from a neighboring province. The marriage promised to strengthen the family's political ties, and no amount of whispered protests could halt it. Shirin, torn between duty and desire, felt her heart fracture with each passing day. Kamar, aware of the looming threat, knew that if he did nothing, he might lose her forever. Desperate to find a solution, Kamar sought counsel from his mentor and elder, a wise statesman named Bahram. The old man had seen many hearts broken by duty and ambition, and his advice was tempered with experience. "Young Kamar," Bahram said, his eyes glinting with understanding, "love is a force stronger than fear, but it is not without consequence. If you wish to pursue her, you must act with courage and strategy. Bravery alone will not suffice in the court of kings and princes. With Bahram's guidance, Kamar devised a plan to secure Shirin's safety and the freedom of their love. He would seek an audience with the king himself, appealing not as a suitor, but as a loyal noble whose devotion to the realm could not be questioned. If he could gain the king's favor, he might delay the betrothal long enough to win Shirin's father's reluctant blessing, or at least create an opportunity to plead their case openly. Meanwhile, Shirin wrestled with her own fears and desires. Each evening she walked the palace gardens alone, imagining a life where she and Kamar could meet openly, share their laughter, and speak freely without the weight of secrecy. Her heart ached with longing, but the thought of rebellion filled her with equal parts hope and dread. Could she defy her father, risk scandal, and pursue a love so pure it seemed almost impossible? One night, as she wandered beneath a canopy of stars, she whispered to the silent night, "If only the world could see love as I see it, not as danger, not as ambition, but as the truth of our souls. Let him be safe, let our hearts be free, and perhaps one day the world will understand." And so their love entered a new phase, a delicate dance between desire and danger, hope and duty. Kamar prepared for the challenge ahead, knowing that his courage and strategy would be tested as never before. Shirin, though fearful, held fast to the vision of a shared life, a life where their hearts could beat in harmony without the chains of politics and family expectations. The seeds of conflict had been sown. Courtly intrigue, the ambitions of others, and the unyielding expectations of family loomed like dark clouds over the horizon. Yet even amidst these trials, the bond between Kamar and Shirin only grew stronger, a secret flame burning bright against the shadows. And though the path forward was uncertain, both knew one thing with absolute clarity: their love, once ignited, could not be extinguished. The days grew heavier with the weight of secrets. Kamar and Shirin continued to meet in quiet corners of the palace gardens, in shadowed corridors, and at the market under the pretense of casual encounters. Each meeting, though brief, was a stolen treasure, a momentary reprieve from the pressures of family and court. Yet with every passing day, the danger of discovery increased. Whispers traveled quickly in the marble halls, and eyes that seemed friendly could hide suspicion. Shirin's father had grown impatient. The prince from the neighboring province was expected to arrive soon, and the engagement was to be formalized in a lavish ceremony. Shirin's attempts to plead her case were met with polite dismissal, her father reminding her that duty was a higher calling than fleeting emotion. "Shirin," he said one evening, his tone firm yet tinged with regret, "I wish it could be otherwise. But the world does not bend to our hearts. We bend to the duties we inherit." Shirin felt the pain of impossibility pressing down upon her. Her dreams of a life with Kamar seemed to drift farther away with each passing day. But even as despair threatened to overwhelm her, she found strength in his unwavering devotion. Kamar had promised to protect her, to fight for their love, and she clung to that promise as a lifeline. One morning, Kamar rode into the city under the pretense of attending court affairs. His plan, crafted with the guidance of his mentor Bahram, was bold. He would request a private audience with the king himself. Only the king's favor could slow the tide of Shirin's arranged marriage, granting them a chance to act openly. Kamar knew the risk. If denied or misunderstood, he could face exile or imprisonment. But his heart, fierce and unyielding, could not allow him to remain idle while Shirin's future was dictated by politics and ambition. The king, a wise and discerning ruler, received Kamar with measured curiosity. "Young noble," he said, his voice echoing in the ornate chamber, I hear of your courage and service to the realm. Speak plainly, for time is precious and my patience limited." Kamar bowed deeply, steadying his nerves. "Your Majesty, I come not to challenge the laws of the court, nor to undermine any alliance. I come only to speak of a matter of the heart, of loyalty and of truth. The Princess Shirin holds a place in my life that cannot be replaced. I seek not her wealth, nor her title, but the opportunity to prove my devotion, to protect her from harm, and to honor her choice." The king's gaze softened, his eyes reflecting a mixture of understanding and caution. "Love is noble yet dangerous when entangled with duty and politics. Many hearts have faltered when faced with the pressures you describe. What makes you believe yours can withstand the storm?" "Because, Your Majesty," Kamar replied, his voice unwavering, "true love endures where fear, greed, and ambition fail. I would face any trial, bear any burden, and risk all for her safety and her happiness. That is my vow." The king studied him silently, the court's tapestry of power and intrigue reflected in his measured gaze. Finally he spoke, his tone gentle yet authoritative. "I admire your courage, Kamar. Know this, the path ahead is perilous. You must prove that your intentions are honorable, your heart steadfast. Should you fail, the consequences will be yours alone. Proceed with wisdom." Buoyed by this tentative support, Kamar returned to Shirin with renewed hope. Yet the lover's reprieve was short-lived. The arrival of the prince was imminent, and the palace buzzed with preparations for the engagement ceremony. The news spread quickly, and Kamar knew that each day brought them closer to exposure. He and Shirin devised a plan to meet one last time in the garden before the prince's arrival, a fleeting moment of solace before the storm. Under the soft light of dusk, Kamar found Shirin beneath the jasmine trees, their fragrance mingling with the crisp evening air. Their eyes met, and the unspoken fear of separation hung heavily between them. "Kamar," Shirin whispered, her voice trembling, "soon they will seek to bind me in ways neither of us can prevent. How can I endure knowing that our hearts may be torn apart by duty and expectation?" Kamar took Shirin's hands in his grip firm yet gentle. "Shirin, listen to me. No matter what happens, our love cannot be erased. Even if we are forced apart, my heart will remain with you, and I will find a way to bring us together no matter the cost." Their embrace, though brief, was filled with a mixture of passion and sorrow, a silent promise that they would endure whatever trials awaited them. For the first time, Shirin allowed herself to imagine a future where love could conquer the chains of politics, where hearts could triumph over duty, and where they might one day stand together openly, free from fear. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. One of the palace attendants, observing the lovers from a distance, reported their clandestine meetings to Shirin's father. The news reached him like a storm breaking over the mountains, sudden and violent. His anger was fierce, but his sorrow deeper still. He had always admired Kamar's courage and integrity, yet the thought of losing control over Shirin's future filled him with dread. Summoning Shirin to his private chamber, he spoke with a mixture of authority and anguish. "You have defied me, daughter. You have chosen secrecy over obedience. I do not doubt the sincerity of your feelings, but the world does not allow hearts to act without consequence. I will not have you dishonored, nor our family's honor compromised." Shirin's voice was steady, though her heart quaked. "Father," Shirin said, "I do not seek to dishonor you. I seek only to honor my heart. Kamar is noble, loyal, and true. If love is a crime, then I am guilty. But it is not a crime. It is the very essence of life." Her father's eyes softened, the conflict within him mirrored in the lines of his face. He realized that her love for Kamar was not a passing fancy, but a force that could not be extinguished. But the practicalities of the world, the prince, the political alliances, the court, remained immovable barriers. Their love, though fierce and pure, faced trials that were only beginning. And so, the stage was set for the ultimate test. Kamar and Shirin's hearts were bound, yet the forces of politics, family, and duty loomed large. The path forward would demand courage beyond measure, sacrifice beyond imagination, and the unwavering belief that love, even in the darkest of shadows, could endure. The palace was alive with anticipation. Jewel-encrusted banners fluttered in the wind, servants scurried with trays of food and delicate linens, and the nobles of the realm whispered in excited tones about the impending engagement between Shirin and the visiting prince. Every corner of the city seemed to echo with the promise of ceremony and alliance, yet beneath the surface, a storm of emotion and tension raged, a storm that Kamar and Shirin felt in every heartbeat. The lovers had known that their time of freedom was short. Kamar, strengthened by the king's cautious approval and his own unwavering resolve, had planned a final plea, a bold confrontation that would lay their love bare before Shirin's father. If he could not be swayed, if the walls of duty were too rigid to bend, they would have to choose between secrecy and defiance, each choice carrying its own peril. That evening, under the dim glow of lanterns in the palace garden, Kamar met Shirin one last time before the ceremony. The flowers bloomed under the cool air of twilight, their petals trembling in the breeze, as if nature itself shared in the lovers' longing. "Shirin," Kamar whispered, taking her hands in his, "tonight I will speak to your father. I will ask him to see our hearts, to recognize what cannot be hidden. Whatever comes, know that my devotion is eternal." Shirin's eyes glistened with tears, her heart torn between hope and fear. "Kamar, if he refuses, if the world insists on keeping us apart, I do not know if I could bear the loss." Kamar pressed his forehead to hers, the warmth of his presence a comfort against the icy fear. "Then we will endure it together, in whatever form fate allows. Our love is stronger than duty, stronger than fear. We will not break." The next morning, Kamar sought an audience with Shirin's father. The chamber was heavy with the scent of incense and polished wood. Shirin's father regarded him with measured eyes, suspicion mingled with curiosity. "You come boldly, Kamar. Do you not fear the consequences of defiance?" "I fear nothing more than a life without her. Shirin's heart belongs to me, as mine belongs to her. I seek only your understanding, not your approval. But I ask that you witness the truth of our bond and consider the life she might have with someone who loves her wholly, without ambition or guile." Shirin's father studied him in silence, the lines of worry and pride etched into his face. He remembered Kamar's bravery, his honor, and the rare sincerity that radiated from the young man. He also remembered his own hopes for Shirin's future, the alliances carefully built over decades, and the weight of duty that bound him as tightly as it bound her. Finally, his voice softened. "Love is a dangerous thing, Kamar. It can elevate the soul, yet it can destroy all that is built with care. You speak of devotion, but can it withstand the trials of politics, of family, of life itself?" "I do not know what the future holds, but I know that my heart will not falter, and hers will not be mine without honor and courage. I will protect her, cherish her, and endure whatever the world demands. I swear it by all that I hold sacred." Shirin's father remained silent, wrestling with the storm within him. Finally, after what felt like hours, he spoke. "Very well. I see that her heart is not yours alone to guide.
yet it is clear that your intentions are pure. I will delay the engagement, but the path ahead will not be easy. You must earn every day, every moment, and prove that your love can withstand the storms yet to come." Kamar bowed deeply, gratitude and relief mingling in his chest. "Thank you. You will not regret your trust." That evening, he returned to Shirin, and they embraced beneath the blossoming jasmine, their hearts lighter than they had been in weeks. The storm had not passed, but the first ray of hope had broken through the clouds. In the following months, Kamar and Shirin's bond grew stronger. They met openly, shared their dreams, and supported each other through the challenges of court and duty. But even in their newfound freedom, life reminded them that love is never without trials. Envious nobles sought to undermine them. Whispers of scandal tried to stir fear, and the weight of expectation still hung heavily. But each obstacle only strengthened their resolve, forging a love tempered by courage, patience, and unwavering devotion. In time, Shirin's father came to see not only the depth of their love, but also the character of Kamar. He recognized that this was no fleeting affection, no reckless passion, but a bond capable of enduring hardship, navigating the intricacies of court, and honoring both heart and duty. With careful deliberation, he granted them his blessing, not as a surrender, but as an acknowledgement of the strength and purity of their hearts. On a spring morning, under skies of crystalline blue, Kamar and Shirin were united in a ceremony that blended the grandeur of tradition with the quiet triumph of love won through courage, patience, and unwavering devotion. As they stood together, hands entwined, hearts beating as one, they looked toward a future where the shadows of fear and expectation had been pushed aside, replaced by the light of a love that had endured storms, whispers, and the tests of fate. The journey had been arduous, but the reward was greater than either could have imagined. A life built on mutual respect, shared dreams, and a devotion that could not be broken. In the years that followed, Kamar and Shirin became legends, not only for their beauty or nobility, but for the courage of their hearts. Their story was told through generations as a testament to love's enduring power, a reminder that even in a world bound by duty and expectation, the heart's true desire, when nurtured with courage and patience, can shape destiny itself. And so, beneath the mountains and rivers of ancient Persia, where the air carried the scent of jasmine and the songs of the wind whispered through the valleys, Kamar and Shirin lived a love that had faced the impossible and emerged radiant, eternal, and unbroken.
In the quiet town of Valencia, the sun rose over whitewashed houses and narrow cobblestone streets, casting a golden glow that made the orange trees shimmer. In one of the grandest houses in the town lived Quiteria, a young woman of remarkable beauty and gentle spirit. Her hair fell like a river of midnight silk, and her eyes held a brightness that reflected her lively mind and tender heart. But what made her truly remarkable was not her beauty alone. It was the kindness she showed to everyone, from the wealthiest merchant to the humblest gardener. Quiteria's father, a wealthy and influential man named Don Luis, adored his daughter, but he also believed in the old ways, where marriages were arranged not for love, but for status, wealth, and alliances. Don Luis had long promised Quiteria to a man named Camacho, a prosperous and proud young nobleman known for his wealth and his strong position in the town. Camacho was handsome in his own way, but there was a stiffness in his manner, a pride that often made him seem distant and unapproachable. To Quiteria, Camacho represented security and comfort, but not the kind of love she dreamed of in her heart, the kind that made the soul flutter and the spirit rise. As the spring festival approached, the town buzzed with excitement. Stalls were decorated with bright ribbons, music filled the air, and the scent of fresh bread and orange blossoms mingled in the gentle breeze. Quiteria wandered among the festival stalls with her friends, laughing and enjoying the small pleasures of life, her heart free and untroubled. It was during this festival that she first noticed Don Belcan, a young man from a neighboring village. He was different from Camacho in every way. While Camacho carried the weight of pride and expectation, Beltran moved with ease and warmth, and his eyes seemed to see not just Quiteria's beauty, but her very soul. Beltran had come to the festival to buy supplies for his family's farm, but as he passed through the crowd, his gaze met Quiteria's, and that instant a spark of recognition seemed to pass between them, a silent understanding that neither could explain. They exchanged a polite greeting, but the warmth in Beltran's voice lingered in Quiteria's heart long after he had passed. Over the next few days, they began to see each other more frequently. Beltran would find reasons to visit the town, always hoping for a chance to see Quiteria. And Quiteria, despite the warnings of her father, found herself drawn to him. His laughter was easy, his conversations gentle yet thoughtful, and he listened to her with a kind of attention that made her feel truly alive. In his presence, she discovered feelings she had never known: excitement, longing, and a deep, tender affection that seemed to grow with every glance. But the shadow of Camacho loomed over Quiteria's heart. Her father's insistence and the promise of an arranged marriage reminded her of the practical expectations of society. Camacho, with his wealth and influence, represented safety, but Beltran represented something far more elusive and precious: love, chosen freely without conditions or obligations. Quiteria felt torn, her heart caught between duty and desire, the future she was expected to embrace, and the future she secretly longed for. She could hear the whisper of the orange trees swaying in the breeze, as if they were sharing her secret longing, and for the first time, she allowed herself to dream of a future shaped not by expectation, but by the courage of love. The night was cool, the stars twinkling above like tiny lanterns in the heavens. Quiteria pressed her hand to her chest, feeling the flutter of her heart, and silently vowed that she would not make a choice lightly. Whatever path she chose, she would honor the truth within herself. Little did she know, her choice was about to set in motion events that would change not only her life, but the lives of everyone around her.